Film and Beyond. I'm your host, Alan Tracy,
I'm Rahana Power.
and today we're talking with Nathan Block about an event coming up. Hello, Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
Hello, thanks for having me back. So good to be back.
Yeah. What
Absolutely.
what you got going on? What's coming up here, huh? We'll start with reverse, like what's next
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. No, thank you. Well, I wanted to just take a little bit of time to talk about Halloween Horror Shorts Part 3, which is our third year now that we've been doing this program of scary short films in a program that we show. The admission is paid and the money is distributed to the filmmakers who have a short in the festival. To the best of my knowledge, we are the only festival organization that actually pays filmmakers for showing short films. And I've been passionate about short films for, well, a long time now,
Yeah.
having made around 50 of them
hmm
myself. And I've always been, number one, I've been very frustrated with the fact that there isn't really a way to monetize short films well.
hmm
And
Right.
especially in this TikTok era that we find ourselves with, I will never understand that. I will never understand why there isn't a more concerted effort to market and monetize short film content, short episodic content. So I started Sensational Shorts about 3 years ago with the idea that I wanted to try and put packages together of short films and show them to an eager paying audience and then distribute that money to filmmakers. And so here we are 3 years later. We've done around a dozen events. We've paid over 50 different filmmakers actual cash money for showing their short films. And this has been the most popular of our programs, is now the Halloween installment, now in its third year, and it's coming up on Tuesday, October 29th at the Woodbury 10 Theater. And I'm just hoping that everybody will find some time in their spooky schedule to join us and see what local filmmakers and filmmakers outside of the state have cooked up for a nice scary horror film.
Yeah. I I have been on a bit of a horror. Oh, I'm about to attempt horror, is what I'm saying.
hmm
Um, but like one step at a time, one little. I have an Edit Fest project, then I'm doing a short, and then maybe another short just to test the waters. So
Dip your
this
toe
sounds
in.
like a great way to see what other people are doing, and
Well,
get
well, come on.
ideas.
You can't leave us hanging like that. You got to give us at least like a
Well, don't
one
worry,
or
we have like what, 30 more
one.
minutes or an hour left to talk about that.
I, well, before this ends, I need like a 1 to 2 sentence synopsis on what
Well,
the
Yeah.
plot
yeah,
is.
Elevator
okay.
pitch.
I don't even know the pitch yet, so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
something, I don't know. But yeah, I,
It's gonna be scary.
yeah, I'm interested in local horror too, in that sense. Like, since you said this is the third year and it's been the most popular, is that right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, we've done sort of packages of, say, we've done dramatic. We did a holiday package that actually was quite popular, and then I've just done generic sorts of hodgepodge where it's like, let's take all the new shorts that people want to show off to the public and let's just put them all together and see what happens.
hmm
And I've actually been very, very happy with the response. I mean, we're not getting thousands of people that are turning out, but we're doing well,
hmm
and we're finding an audience. And out of all the events that I've done, the horror film program has been right at the top every year, and I'm really hoping that this won't be an exception. We've done
hmm
very well so far. We've had two events so far this year, and I'm just really hoping that the horror film program just continues to live up to kind of our little tent pole, if you will, our little big big program of the year, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
And we've got just a great lineup of films that hopefully we'll have some time. I want to go through and highlight a few of them.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not super surprised that the like horror event is the most popular because I feel like Minneapolis, Minnesota, like we really love our horror movies. Like people, I mean, I don't, but everybody else, like as filmmakers, I'll put it that way. Like as filmmakers, like we really love the horror genre here. And so I feel like we kind of excel at it. Like where it's not, maybe some Hollywood like cheesy horror, like it's really good until we have to come up with the twist and then we can't. And so it's just like, meh. Whereas like
There's
Minnesota knows how to do it.
Well,
Yeah,
So
we
it's
that's,
spent an
it's
hour and now it's like, eh.
yeah, now you're just disappointed.
well, it's funny. It's funny that you would bring that up because I just got back from Catalyst in Duluth, and I was talking to Chris LaFleur, who produced The Hand That Feeds,
Hmm.
and we were talking about horror movies in general. And the cool thing about horror audiences as a whole, as sort of their own separate demographic fan base, horror film people are awesome because as long as the horror genre is how it's labeled, they
Hmm.
consume any content. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the quality. It doesn't matter and what I mean by that is the production value. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that it's just
Mhm.
a crappy film.
Yeah.
If it doesn't matter if you had, $1,000 or $100 million, they
Hmm.
will go see it. It doesn't matter if there are stars or nobodies. They will go see it. It doesn't matter. The horror fan base, as its own individual entity, is literally the best fan base in the world because they're open to anything. And the
Hmm.
cool thing about them is they also appreciate practical effects. So you don't have
Hmm.
to spend thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars on digital effects. If you're just making it with ketchup and brown syrup and whatever, and you're making guts out of balloons and latex, they love that.
Hmm.
And I just think that's so cool about that fan base is that they just don't care. They support it. And I think that that's another reason, in addition to what you said, another reason why this program has been so popular is
Yeah.
because that fan base is just awesome, and they support it because they're always
Yeah.
looking for sort of the next cool thing. And every horror fan that you will ever talk to has got that favorite film that you've never heard of
Hmm.
that was made in like 1983
Yeah.
for $6 and doesn't star anybody you've ever heard of, and they'll talk about it forever.
Yeah.
And I love horror fans. I absolutely love them. And
Hmm.
I sort of wish that I made more horror films. It's not actually my favorite genre to make, but to the
Hmm.
point, the films that I've made that have found play at various festivals around the country and around the world, they've all been my horror films. Peter
Hmm.
Peter and The Shed have been the two best films that have had the most festival play, and they're both horror.
Nice.
So,
That's
that
awesome.
that just goes to show you that fan base, God bless them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't I'm gonna ask this question, and we're talking shorts and local, but so that I'm not making you choose anyone local who we know and our listeners, and then everybody else gets sad. Out of like really big horror movies, and this could be across, I mean, anywhere from the 70s, 80s to today. Do you happen to have a favorite?
And we're talking feature films now,
Like,
right?
yeah, like features, like Hollywood, Hollywoodish, like that kind of thing. Just so I'm not making you pick a favorite
Oh,
film from the people that we know here.
oh no, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to alienate
yeah,
anybody here,
exactly.
but there are some, yeah, and there are some, like you said earlier, there are some great
Yeah.
filmmakers locally. I think honestly, and I know that this is not very original, but I think what Robert Eggers is doing right now is he is the guy to watch. Wow, is he making some incredible career choices? I mean, you start with The Witch, and then you go into Lighthouse,
Mhm.
and now he's got Nosferatu coming out in December, which I can't wait to see that. I
Yeah.
absolutely can't wait. I'm so
It looks
excited.
so scary.
Oh man, he is just like he's the new guy. He just
Hmm.
is. And that's not to say that there haven't been some absolutely astounding filmmakers that have come before him. And
Hmm.
I mean, certainly Kubrick with The Shining and A Clockwork Orange, and
Right.
I mean, has certainly paved the way. But I think what Robert Eggers is doing right now is just spellbinding. He's really advancing this to the next level. And it's going to be really interesting to see his career develop now as he is continuing to mature and hone his craft. Uh, he's the guy to watch, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Hmm. I love when filmmakers like that who just crush a certain genre like this, all of a sudden just do a complete 180, and then you're like, oh, they did. I mean, not like a rom-com, but like the new MCU movie or something like that, and you're just like, what? And then they crush it, and you're like, come on, like what? Give somebody like they just seem to if they're at that level then they want to challenge themselves and they still like exceed expectations. And I think it's so cool. So I agree. I mean, I can't watch his movies because they're too scary, but I feel like that's a compliment to the movie, even just the trailers, because I had to look away during one of the trailers for Nosferatu. But I feel like that just tells me if he at any point decides, you know what, I'm gonna give something a shot for fun. Like it's worth giving it a shot, like giving it a watch because he knows what he's doing.
I think you're batting it out of the park with your observations because I agree. I think a director is a director,
Yes.
and a good director is able to sort of hop seamlessly
Mhm.
from genre to genre and doesn't need to get pigeonholed
Yeah.
into into one certain genre. And I mean, look at Martin Scorsese and look at
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg and look at all of the different movies that they've made over the course of their careers. And they never stuck to one thing. They always did different things. And it's just the sign of a good director when they can go to different genres
Yeah.
and it still has their signature, but it's not
Mhm.
necessarily when Martin Scorsese does something like oh shoot, what was the one that he did about the Japanese Catholics? Um, but that
Oh
film,
yeah.
yeah, I can't think of the name of it right now. But I mean,
Uh-uh.
there are no gangsters in there. Joe Pesci doesn't
Yeah.
show up with a shotgun and blow everybody away. But it was still a
Right.
great movie, and
Yes.
that's just the characteristic of a good director is
Hmm.
how they can hop back and forth like that. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's always a very good telltale sign.
Yes.
Mm.
Oh, silence.
Thank you. Yes.
Silence. There we go.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know I could like picture the like movie promo poster and I was like, come on. Yeah, silence. Um
Yeah. Or the aviator. You know,
yeah,
you just sort of go
exactly.
just look at his filmography and you're just like,
Yeah.
how do you do this? How do you do
Hmm.
it?
It's impressive. Um so I jumped in as Alan was going to say this, so I'll divert us back. Tell us about the films that
Yeah.
we're, going to be
Well,
seeing. The audience will see.
well, I am just I am so proud of this lineup. And again, I'm not saying that any of the previous two lineups were bad, but I'm very proud of what we have this year. We've got Sean Skinner is a name that hopefully everybody in the local community is familiar with. He's done some incredible stuff. He's living the dream. He's working in the industry. He Stephen King had a program a few years back where you could buy the rights to one of his short stories for $1, and then you could make a film about it, a short film, whatever you wanted. You had the
Wow.
rights, and yeah, and it was actually really cool. I was almost going to do it, and I just never got around to it, and I'm kicking myself.
I'm sorry. I'm
Uh,
thinking of the RoboCop guy. I'd buy that for a dollar.
I'd buy that for $1. That's a good one. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But Sean Skinner did Rest Area, which is one of his Stephen King short
Oh,
films.
I didn't see that one. Yeah.
It is fantastic.
And it's going to be a part of the program, huh?
Yep, it is a part of our
Oh,
program. It is 18 minutes long, and it is just fantastic.
nice.
He did it a while ago too, about five or
Yeah, I
six
feel like
years
it was a
ago.
while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had let me have it. I showed it at another, I can't even remember. We had another program and I thought it would fit,
Okay.
and I showed it there, and I was so blown away by it. I'm like, we got to dig this out again for Halloween, and he was nice enough to let me. And then we've got, if anybody saw last year's program, you will never, ever, ever forget Microwave Spider, which was a very unforgettable film. And that's all I'm going to say because you got to see this film. But the director of Microwave Spider is back with his new film called Gyne, Gyne. Derek Bauer is back, and he has a visual style that is really quite unique for Minnesota filmmakers. I haven't really seen anybody taking this approach to film locally, and it's just blazingly wonderfully bizarre. uh, and I've seen the film. It's great. Everybody's going to love it. So that's going to be a part of it. Tough Love Productions, Carrie Leyland has been making her mark in Z Fest. She had a horror movie in the Z Fest program last year called Bestie, which I thought was quite good. She gave it to this festival that's going to be screened. We've got Colette, which is Jack Walterman, another standout Z Fest film from this year. That's going to be a part of the program. And then this quirky little film called Unlucky from a relatively new filmmaker called Sebastian Luna. And it's just this wonderful dark comedy. And nobody likes a dark comedy more than I do. I was so happy that it's a part of the program. It's so funny and it's so just well done. So Unlucky is going to be a part of the bill. And then Ryan Becken, who again is another name that hopefully Minnesota filmmakers recognize. He did a film again a little while ago called Lincoln 666. And it is funny, it's a dark comedy, it's scary, it's hysterical, it's just everything you come to expect from him. And again, we had it as a part of another program, uh, just one of my compilations, and I just told him how much I loved it. I said, we got to bring this back again uh, for Halloween, and he said yes. And then we've got Wes Effect Entertainment. We've got a film called Drawing, which was, I believe, premiered at Z Fest 2 years back. And then we will round out the program with The Shed, which is my horror film from a couple of years back. I entered it into 50/50, and so far I think we're up to 10 festivals that have accepted this. And Duluth Superior was one of them. I
Good.
just got back from a wonderful screening, just an amazing festival. I was so happy to be back. And so, yeah, the shed will be a part of that. And yeah, that's everything that's on deck. It's going to be a great program. It's only $7 to get in. And again, we are splitting that money with all of the filmmakers that I've mentioned. Everybody gets an equal share. So come and support local filmmaking, literally support local filmmaking, and have a good time. We're going to do a Q&A like we always do.
Hmm.
It's going to be a fun event, good networking, good times, rub shoulders with filmmakers who are making it happen here in Minnesota. And yeah, it's going to be a great evening. I hope everybody can take time out of their schedules to attend.
Right. Yeah, and that'll be on October 29th, a Tuesday night, 7 p.m., Woodbury
Yep,
10, $7 admission. So there you go.
indeed.
Hey everyone. We've got a lot of fun episodes up and ready for you on our new Patreon. I've got lots of awesome guests, playlists for you, and all of the fun tangent chats with these guests.
Like Abisha Yule, Chazara, learned how to say her real name, Leon, Keeley, and even drunk stories. You name it. We talk about it. Join for free and get extra episodes for as little as $5 a month. Get every Patreon episode in the link in the show notes.
So check us out at patreon.com/film and beyond.
Yeah.
We'll see you there.
I'm going to divert us slightly, and then we can come back to horror. Um, can you talk about your experience at Catalyst that you mentioned here?
Oh man, I had such a good time. I really did. I've been aware of Catalyst for a number of years, but I just never ever had an opportunity to go. This is a very busy time of year just in general. And so I went last year and I was just blown away by how informative it was, and I learned so much. I attended a number of workshops and just felt that what I was exposed to from all of the different speakers that were there and all the different workshops and presentations, I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like that was worth the price of admission all by itself. And then I had a film in Duluth Superior Film Festival, which is also a part of that. So Catalyst is actually just one of three different events that are happening concurrently. And they call it,
Wild.
yeah, I know it's a little confusing. You got to kind of get used to it to navigate it. But
Right.
Catalyst is actually part of the North Star Story
That's it.
Summit.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
yeah, and then so that umbrella, the North Star Story Summit, encompasses Catalyst, Duluth Superior Film Festival, and Minnesota Web Fest.
Yeah.
So it's all three, which is really smart to do. I mean, to put all this
Mhm.
stuff
Yeah.
together so that you're not worried about
One
three
trip,
different. Yeah,
1 week.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really smart. But this year, I just felt like this year they were firing on all cylinders.
For
They had
next
a
year. Yeah.
Yeah, this year there was a huge program, a workshop program that explained all the different tax incentives that are available to
Mm,
filmmakers.
Good.
And
huge.
I mean, the state incentive is for projects that are funded at $1 million or higher. And I know that that's
Hmm.
out of reach for most people, so they sort of stop when
Right.
they get to that. But all of the regional stuff
Mhm.
is not that high. So then you've got St. Louis County, you've got the Iron Range, you've got Duluth. There are a couple others, but those aren't $1 million budgets. Those are just it's sort of a pool that gets used up, and as long as you submit your budget and are approved, you can get up to 25% or 20% back on your expenditures. And so you don't have to be shooting $1 million feature to be able to take use of all of this, which is really great for
Mhm.
filmmakers who are doing ultra low budget
Yeah.
shorts and features or episodic content of one thing or another. So that hour long, hour and a half long, whatever it was, workshop that I attended, I feel like just it just blew my mind because I thought, well, unless I've got $1 million feature, none of
Yeah.
this is really going to be available to me. But now
Right.
I'm starting to go, well, okay, if I can get 25% back, now I'm starting to look at the iron range and
Hmm.
it's like, well, what can I shoot out there that could use this, that, or the other thing? And
Hmm.
there was a wonderful tour that took place where they drove us around for 5 hours. They showed
Oh,
us
wow.
all of these different locations up in the Iron Range. We went to Eveleth, which is a
Mm.
town that was featured in, there was a movie about hockey in Minnesota. It was a
Hmm.
documentary and it just came out.
Hmm.
That, uh, that town was featured quite prolifically. So it was cool to go through it.
Yeah.
And then we went to Chisholm, which is featured heavily in the movie Cash for Gold, which was the opening
Mm.
film for Duluth Superior and won the award Best in Fest.
Wow.
And the film was
Oh,
just
wow.
fantastic. It was great. It was so good. I wish the theater would have been like just 500 people waiting to get in. It was so good.
Mm.
Huh.
And I talked to the producer afterwards, and he is in love with Minnesota. He wants to make more films here.
Good.
And I mean, I could just go on and on. Duluth Superior Film Festival is like the little hidden gem
Hmm.
of this state. It's so well
Oh,
run.
yeah.
The people care about the filmmakers. I've felt so welcome. I felt valued. It is such a well-run festival and such a great, a lot of varied content, a lot of different genres represented, a lot of filmmakers represented. I actually saw two features and then a bunch of shorts. And then the other feature I saw was called A Good Wolf, which highlighted the wolf trapping that's taking place in northern Minnesota. And
Mm.
I mean, it's a tough watch,
Yeah.
but it was done so well for a doc that it just, I mean, it really showed both sides and just kind of allowed you to make up your own mind.
Hmm.
And the filmmaker was there afterwards and gave a great Q&A, just fantastic. It's a
Hmm.
female filmmaker. Her name escapes me right now, but th- without rambling anymore, Catalyst was great. The Duluth Superior Film Festival was great. Minnesota Web Fest. I don't do that kind of content, so I didn't really attend much of their
Yeah.
events.
Uh-huh.
But I could not recommend this more. If anybody out there, and Alan, you of all people should be up there.
I
Uh,
know.
you
Yeah.
really should. And
Rahana and I have both been invited up there several years since Philip was on the show. And then
nice.
now our name has changed, so it's like things are a little different. But yes, we hope to
Yeah.
be there next year, hopefully, is the idea,
Hopefully.
at least for
The,
me.
the timing always ends up getting so, it makes me so
We have to
sad.
plan ahead, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to be
So
organized.
next year.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I hear what you're saying because it ends
I,
up being so
yeah,
close to TCFF, and I know that
Hmm.
obviously that's a huge event.
I
And
timed it wrong.
people,
I thought it was in September because I think it was
Yeah.
previously in September or something, and
yeah,
then now it was in October, and was like, this is not the weekend. It's like
Yeah.
because I was trying to guess it, and I didn't pick the right weekend off, I guess. Um, but yes, I do hope to because the film I made this summer has pilot potential, so it's definitely a suitable candidate for either Webfest or Catalyst as a pilot, and then
well, and
the
how
film
cool,
itself too. So
well, and how cool would it be for both of you to do like a sort of a live
Hmm.
podcast or
yeah,
just end up interviewing people and like
Yeah.
playing it back. There's just like
absolutely.
ample opportunity for you to do that. And
Hmm.
Hmm.
what's really cool about Catalyst too is that everything is really nicely contained. Like most of it is held in downtown Duluth at the Zinema, their two-screen art house theater, and
Oh.
it's got like a reception area on the second level, and then there's like a theater space where a lot of the workshops are held. And then you just turn around and go right downstairs. There are two beautiful auditoriums where all the screenings are. So it's really nice that it's sort of most of it takes place in a very compact area. So it's
Hmm.
easy to meet people, it's easy to talk to people. Uh, it's not like overwhelmingly you walk into this great big, hotel
Hmm.
ballroom or whatever. It's really
It should
cozy.
be. No, I'm just
Well, yeah, I mean, eventually it would be nice if they outgrew the place, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
for what they're doing right now, it's so great. Everything is
Yeah.
just right there, and a lot of
Yeah.
local restaurants right around there
I
that
love
are great to
grandma's there.
support.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
no, it's great. I'm already thinking about next year and what I'm gonna submit and do, and
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, had a total blast. Total, could not recommend it more. It's 100% worth it.
Oh yeah. As a filmmaker, it intrigues me. Also, it would be nice to get a selection, so that kind of has its
Hmm.
bearing on it too. Um, and luck, good for you. You got a selection. Like, when did you find out you were selected? Like, what's their and when do you
Oh
find
boy.
out, I guess? I don't know.
Um, I want to say it was late August that I
Oh,
found
okay.
out.
That's good.
But yeah, the shed was selected, and then um, I produced cycles for Laura Runge Hunt,
Yeah.
and that I submitted them as a pair, and they were both accepted, which I was really really thrilled about.
Wow, great.
So yeah, we both had films in the festival, and then Laura also had a pitch that she was doing for a limited series. So then we were up there for that as well.
Oh,
But
how'd that go? The
it
pitch.
went well. It went well.
Yeah.
She did great. Um, she didn't win, but it was still a great experience, and she really crushed it.
Yeah, good.
So yeah, it was again just great time all the way around, no matter what you're doing, whatever stage of filmmaking you're in, even if you're just in the middle of a script, you're going to find resources out there to help you. And I cannot recommend the two tours enough. They do two of them. One is the Iron Range where they really take you out there and you get to see all these different places that you can shoot at. And then they take you around. The other one, they just take you around Duluth and show you the various options that are available right there in the city of Duluth. And both of
Gotcha.
them, both of those tours, if you are seriously filming in the state of Minnesota, you cannot afford to miss these tours and hear Ricky McManus and what all of the experience that she has. She goes on the tour. She's got 13 tons of stories and information,
Yeah.
and she's so interesting to listen to. And yeah, it is well, 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 well worth it. And she also happens to have quite a bit of knowledge on all of the hauntings that that are in Duluth. So like if you follow that, like if that's your
Uh-huh.
deal, she's got a lot of knowledge on that. She can tell you all the haunted spots and who got killed where and what ghost was seen last month. I mean, she knows, man. She knows a lot. It's
Have
really cool.
have you seen the show Evil?
No, I can't say that I have.
Okay. It's on Paramount Plus. It had 4 seasons. I think two of the seasons are on Netflix. But it's like where they go and kind of like it's like they're seeking out like, does this need an exorcism or something like that for the Catholic Church, but it's actually more based in science. So it's like, is this even a real thing? So it's like, and they kind of break it down, so to speak. But it's like it's a show though, so it's melodramatic horror. So it's just
Okay.
kind of like, oh, that's interesting,
Oh, I'll
But
have to check that
I
out.
love it. It's so good. Yeah.
Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah. Anyway, when you brought that up, it was just that I'm watching that right now, so it was like, okay, had to bring it up. I highly recommend Evil, the show. Um, but yeah, like Rahana and I right now are working on a Edit Fest project, and I'm going to be calling it Seeing Red. So it is a horror, well, sort of horror-ish trailer. So it's just like a way for me to like ease into it, the genre. So
Mhm.
getting back on the topic of like horror and such, I guess, gosh, there's so much to talk to you about here. So you've done horror already, like two,
Yes.
sounds like, right?
Well, I had done some others that were less successful.
That's
Uh,
fine. I mean,
but
yeah.
uh, Peter and The Shed, I'm the most proud of out of the
Okay.
4 or 5 horror films that I've made
I
over the
saw The
years.
Shed. What's Peter?
Peter is about a young rapscallion who, on a dare, destroys some property that happens to belong to a witch, and she seeks revenge. And
Oh.
I'm really proud of it. And now that I'm thinking about it, Peter and the Shed actually share this sort of unintentional uh, bad things happening to kids motif that I
Oh
have
yeah.
flowing
Uh-huh.
through a couple of horror movies that I've done. So,
Yeah.
uh, which always just seems to be like nobody touches that. Like
Hmm.
nothing bad ever happens to kids in
I mean,
movies.
it.
It.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I
but
haven't actually seen it, but I'm pretty sure that there are kids in one of them. I,
but
it's a clown. I'm not.
That's Stephen King. You know,
Oh, yeah.
he breaks all the rules. But
He hates
I,
children.
but
Just kidding.
I'm proud of the fact that kids don't just get out of trouble because they're kids in
Yeah.
either film. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, those are the two that I'm the most proud of. I'll send you a link to Peter.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
might
Love
have
to.
actually put that online now because
Oh, okay.
I think the
It's
festival, the life
On
on that has run out.
the life, yeah. Uh-huh.
on a scale from 1 to 10, how scary would you say these movies are? Like, if I can watch up to like a 3, is it is it a 3? Like it's more like suspenseful and like creepy, like how it's happening, or is am I gonna have nightmares
I
because
think
I'm
you'd be okay
basically
with
a
the
4 year
shed.
old?
I think you'd be okay with the shed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Peter, I'd rate like at about a 5. I mean,
Okay.
it's not really supposed to be like jump out, get you
Okay.
Yeah.
sort of
Jumpy
scary.
jump scare
Um,
ones, yeah.
I'd
Okay.
put at like an 8 or a 9. I was going for
Oh,
much more.
Alan, you liar.
it's fine.
He's like, you could totally handle it. I'm like, I'm never sleeping again. Okay. No, I appreciate Nathan you being honest about it because Alan's trying to lie to me.
I'm being honest. I thought it was fine.
I mean, then again, it's all subjective.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Right,
know,
that's true.
um,
Yeah.
I like to try and make. I don't like. Here's what I don't like doing as a filmmaker. I don't like dreaming up new ways to kill people. So, like,
Yeah.
you'll never see me make a Saw movie or
Or
a
a Terrifier.
Hostel or a Terrifier. Exactly. I'm never going to
Yeah.
do that. That's
Yeah.
just not who I am as a filmmaker. But I've sort of tried to make horror movies that are horrific, not because somebody dies in some crazy way, but just because of the circumstances surrounding what happens to the characters in the film. And
Okay.
so both Peter and the Shed are exercises in that.
Okay.
What is horror?
Yeah.
Is true horror? What would be really scary if it happened to you?
That's
Not
the scariest. Yes, that's the scariest one. Like, there's the like Evil Deads, right? Which I also won't watch. But then there's the movies where it's like, oh my God, this could happen. Like, and then every sound and every person you lock eyes with on the street, you're just like, oh my God, what if this movie happens in real life and it's this right here? Yes.
you want to know the movie that was okay, exactly what you just said. You want to know the movie that haunts my dreams because of that very question is
I'm assuming it's The Strangers.
the that's actually not a bad choice, but the first Paranormal Activity
Yeah.
is a freaking masterpiece.
Hmm.
All the other ones were they were decent.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
that first one is a masterpiece. It is so freaking scary, legitimately
Oof.
frightening.
Yeah.
Wow, did that movie freak me out?
Hmm.
And the very first Ring.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I watched that by myself at about 2 o'clock in the morning after work. I was the only one
No.
in the theater, literally the only one in the building.
Oh no.
And when I won't
Lights
spoil
out.
it, I won't spoil it in case there's somebody out there who has yet to see it. But when the blank crawls out of the
Yes.
blank,
Yes.
I was like just looking over my shoulder, like I felt like I was just gonna die. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
for a PG-13 horror movie, that movie
Oh.
is
It was
so
scary.
well done.
Yeah.
Holy crap, it's so good. Like that just sort of backs up what
Hmm.
I what I said earlier that you don't really have to have like a super gory movie to be scary.
Yeah. Hmm.
The Ring is PG-13 and it is easily one of the most frightening films ever made.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
Was that Naomi Watts?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
I
When
know. I
she's
saw
like
the.
when she's like I saw his face, it was like I was like, how is this PG-13? It's like
Oh man.
Yeah. I know. I saw that in theater. It was me and one friend. And we saw it like after it was high school. So we saw it after like a like rehearsal for a play. And then there was like two elderly people in there who got up and left after about 20 minutes. And we screamed, we jumped. I was like, what is happening? Why are we in this movie? Oh my God. Yes, so I am with you on that.
I sort of feel like I maybe told this story before, so if I did, you can like edit it out.
not
But
to us. Oh, oh,
well,
the one you're about to say. Okay.
so so I before I obviously before I bought my first movie theater, I was running the theater on the University of Minnesota campus.
Yeah.
That's what how I sort of got into the exhibition business, and I had seen Peter Jackson's got a film called Dead Alive, which bears absolutely no resemblance to Lord of the Rings at all, and it is easily one of the goriest movies ever made. And
Oh.
it's not like it is not a scary movie. It's just gory for the sake of gore,
Mm.
but it's so campy and the humor is done. It's so dark humor wise that I just
Hmm.
fell in love with it, and it's just one of my favorite films ever since. And I saw it at Film in the Cities back when that was a thing. I saw it there. I saw it at MCAT,
Mm.
and there were maybe 20 of us at the screening. And I said, I have got to bring this thing to campus. I've got to show this on campus.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to
Uh-oh.
love it. And and you know, you got to remember this is the early 90s. This is long before
Hmm.
the internet. So finding films like that was a challenge. Well,
Oh
I
yeah.
managed to track it down. I found the booker, I found somebody who had it. And so we got the print and I advertised it as the goriest movie ever made. The first night we did a midnight showing of it. We had 200 people. The line was literally like
Wow.
down the block.
Was this
And
Kaufman Memorial or
yeah, no, it was Willie Hall. They had 35 millimeter projectors in the
Oh, okay.
booth because some genius thought, hey, film is eventually going to be part of school curriculum, but they just didn't anticipate video or anything.
Yeah.
So, but I found them and then we started using, but that's a whole nother story. So the first three people into that showing of Dead Alive are these three are these three sorority girls who were obviously did not know what they were getting into
Yeah.
because there is a line of black t-shirts behind them and here they are, you know, and just obviously out of
Was it
place.
at least
And
Halloween? I mean, was it like
well, it was early October.
yeah, yeah, okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
But so and I as I sold them their tickets, they're going by me and the one says to the other, I can't believe that we're gonna watch this movie. And I'm like, I gotta figure out where these girls are. So I had taped off a row in the theater for me and my staff. And
Uh-huh.
as I sat down, I couldn't believe it. They were right across the aisle. There was a center aisle in the middle of the auditorium, and they were right on the other side. They were on right opposite me.
Hmm.
And so the opening scene of the film, they're on safari, and one the person on safari gets bitten by this monkey and starts having this reaction, and the safari guide cuts off his arm with a machete. That's the opening of the film. It gives you an idea of where this film is going.
All right.
And so I saw it coming. And so I'd seen the film before, so I knew it was
Yeah.
coming. So I just looked to my left, and I'm watching these girls, and they go, and like all three of them, it's like that. It's like, the monkey,
That would be me.
see no evil. They're
Yeah.
they're all got their hands in front of their face, and then every once in a while, one of them would do this and then go like this.
Ah.
And so
Uh,
I kept watching. I because I
Yes.
knew where the big moments were because I
Yes.
the film. So I kept looking over, and like they were all three of them were like this, and then one of them would do that. I don't think they saw 15 minutes of that film. I
yeah.
think all that they saw were the palms of their hands. It is one of the most fun I've ever had at the movies, was watching those three
Yeah.
girls watch Dead Alive for the first
You
Yeah.
time.
were the Terrifier. No.
Oh, oh man. Well, yeah, that was Terrifier. That
Yeah.
was for sure was Terrifier in the early 90s, without a doubt. Without a
Well,
doubt.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
I have watched, I would say probably two-thirds of the horror movies that I've watched similar to that, where I because normally we're at home because I'm not about to go to a theater to watch a scary movie ever again. Um, that's not true. I did it with The Invisible Man a couple of years ago,
Oh,
which
right, right.
was
oh.
also terrifying. But so if I'm in the theater, I just look down and I refuse to look up until like my partner will nudge me like, okay, it's you're good to look now. Um, and if we're at home, I have a blanket and I will just put it up here
Yeah.
until
Or a
I know that
pillow.
I'm okay. And then I'll just go like this and then I'll go like that. And yeah, I would say probably a third or two-thirds of the horror movies I've watched like that.
Are you talking about the Invisible Man, the one with it was it is
Elizabeth
Elizabeth
Moss.
Moss?
Yeah.
Oh man, that is
Terrifying.
is so good.
It was excellent. It was
when she,
excellent, but
when she
oh
dumps the paint down
yeah.
the attic trap door,
And
holy crap did I jump.
yeah,
Man, that was a genius scene. I That movie was so much better than I thought it was going to be. What a
Yeah.
great
yeah.
movie.
The
Oh,
trailer did not make it look as scary as it was. I was like,
no.
oh, I think I can handle this, and I love Elizabeth Moss, so yeah, sure. Oh man,
Oh,
walked out of it. I was like, it was amazing. I hate you for letting me see this movie. I was like unhappy.
such
I
such a
encouraged
good
her to
movie.
see it too. So,
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
No, it
Oh,
was good. Legitimately, it was really really good. I just
yeah,
because
mhm.
that whole thing, the Invisible Man, that whole shtick has been
yeah,
done. That it's just been
yeah.
done to death, and so I
They did
really,
it so well.
yeah, my
Just
expectations were so low going into that film, and I was so
hmm
pleasantly surprised with how good it was. What a great
Right.
Yeah.
film. Yeah, just great.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. I the first time I saw it in theaters, I had left right during the restaurant scene with her sister, and it was just
Why did
like
you leave?
I had to use the restroom, and it was just
Oh, God.
like I
Okay.
had no idea. It's like I come
Yeah.
back in, everyone's like, "Oh my God!" It's like I'm like, "Shit, I missed something. I missed something big," and then she's just in the hospital, whatever, and it's just like,
Yeah.
"What happened? Damn it!"
Yeah.
And
I
then of
feel like
course
I
I
do
saw it.
that.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
that with any movie when I go to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, this
It's
is
like,
definitely
okay,
the
there's a
right
lull
moment.
here. I
Yeah.
can use the restroom. And there was
Like this
kind
is
of a
okay.
lull. It felt like it. And
Yeah.
then, of course, it didn't follow the
Yeah.
convention of how long a lull goes. But yeah.
Yeah. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
I've got the kind of the cool thing about, well, watching movies in a theater that you own is I've got I can remote in from my phone to the server.
Oh.
So when we watched Oppenheimer, it was me and a
Oh
few
yeah.
friends. I said we're taking a restroom break about halfway through this thing. And so I sort of waited, and I found
Yeah.
like a moment where it was good, and I just hit pause on
Pause
my
it.
phone, and literally the whole screen just stopped. And we
Brilliant.
all got up and took a break, then came back, and we didn't miss anything.
Oh,
I
wow.
love that. That's
Wow.
brilliant.
That is brilliant. Intermission. It was
Yeah.
like,
Intermission. Yeah.
yeah,
Especially during a
change
movie like
disc.
Oppenheimer, yeah, where it's you kind of need it. Like it's long.
Yeah,
Good, but yeah.
but that movie did not feel long to me. I mean, I've heard a lot of people, oh, it was
No.
so long. It's like, but
No, it
it
didn't feel
didn't
it.
feel that way. It
Hmm.
actually was developing plot and characters and
Yes.
moving the story along. And for being a 3 hour movie, it did not feel like a 3 hour movie. It really
Hmm.
didn't. I'm not
Hmm.
saying it felt like half an hour, but it
Yeah.
really it moved along. It did not just languish. I mean,
Yeah.
if you see a Terrence Malick film, that's a 3 hour film.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, what is it, Tree of Life, where he does
Oh
that
God.
'That's the one I
20-minute
didn't
pan?
see.
Oh, there's like
It's
a 20-minute pan of the sun, and
yeah.
it's
And
like,
then the
dude,
dinosaurs,
oh,
and you're
come
just
on.
like enough already. Just
Yeah,
enough.
it's like just
Yeah.
lay off
Yeah.
the weed before you go into the editing room. Not everything is needs to be
Yeah.
lingered on for 20 minutes.
Well,
He
Criterion begs to differ.
oh man, I just don't get that guy. I mean, everybody loves him,
Well,
and it's
some of his films I like Knight of Cups, and there was another one
that's
recently
the
that he
one I
did.
didn't see. Is that worth seeing?
I liked it. Yeah.
The
It's
trailer was
it's
fantastic.
similar to all his other films in the fashion that you think, but in that
Yeah.
style. But I thought it was interesting enough. And I think the
Well,
other one was like Sing Song, something. Song of
yeah,
Songs.
I thought his best one was the Thin Red Line.
Hmm.
I thought Thin Red Line was great,
Yeah,
and
classic. Hmm.
that battle scene where they're storming the Japanese bunker on the hill, that's some of the best war footage that I've ever seen. I could not believe that he pulled it off because that's just not his. Okay, we're going back to Rahana, what you and I were talking about earlier.
Hmm.
The fact that that guy, Mr. 20-minute pan shot could come up with a battle scene
Yeah.
that just gets you right on the edge of your seat. I couldn't believe that he pulled it off. It is such
Hmm.
a harrowing scene. And it stacks up with anything that you've ever seen in Saving Private Ryan or The Longest Day or take your pick.
Or We Were
Uh,
Soldiers. Yeah.
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 Oh man, what a great scene. But I think that's the most accessible out of anything that he's done, and probably his least indulgent
Hmm.
film. The New World is unwatchable. It's just unwatchable. And
Is that the one with Colin Farrell?
Yep. Yep.
yes,
Okay.
he shredded every possible bit of continuity from that story, and it's like,
Mm.
why I don't get it. He had everything
Yeah.
at his disposal to make the most amazing film about that period that he could have, and he just blew it. He just got into the editing
Yeah.
room and just took a machine gun to it, and I don't get it. I don't
Yeah.
get it. I I don't understand why he's like right up there with like
Yeah.
Scorsese and some of these guys. I mean,
Just stylized. That's
Yeah.
why.
yeah, it's
Auteur.
but
So,
Yeah.
it's too much. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Oh,
The only movie I've actually seen of his is A Tree of Life. And because of that, I probably won't ever see another movie. But I will say it was a beautiful movie.
it is.
Like
Yeah,
the shots
agreed.
and stuff, like gorgeous. It's sort of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where I'm like, I want this to be half an hour, and you made it 72 hours. Like you did it a disservice because it would have been a good story this long, and you were full of yourself.
I think you'd like a
Um,
Thin Red Line, though. So,
really?
yeah.
See
Okay.
a Thin Red Line, and
All
I
right.
could not agree with you more about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Killed me.
I sort of thought, yeah, this is just your swan song as
Yeah.
you're on the downward spiral of your career. And I think he's self-aware enough that he knows that because now he says that
Yeah.
the next film is going to be his last one.
Yeah.
And it's like, good, dude,
Uh,
go out on
Well, I
go
think
on.
he originally like his whole shtick was that he shtick, it's Quentin Tarantino. His whole thing was that like he was going to make 10 movies, like
Right.
10 features. And so I think the next one is his 10th. But depending on how it goes, I mean, he's going to get bored eventually. So I
yeah.
don't know. It could be like a Daniel Day-Lewis thing where it's like he's done for a long time and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm back.
But I think, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but I think if he did come back, I think he'd be much better off to produce. I
Mm,
think that
Yeah.
for sure.
he would be the type of guy that would be able to identify
Yeah.
the next big filmmaker. He'd be able to pick them out and go,
Right.
you're great. You're great. Let me produce your film. Let me produce
Yeah.
your short. Let me produce your Hulu series.
Right.
I think he would be the
Was he
guy.
gonna produce my stuff?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
Ellen.
yeah. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
he would be better served resting on his laurels and just sitting back
hmm
and going, okay, yeah, you want to be the next Grindhouse person, the next Grindhouse director. Here's $200,000. Let's see what you can do with it. And
Right.
Yeah.
because if he started doing Quentin Tarantino presents, like if that was his thing, that
Hmm.
his next
Hmm.
thing, that he was going to just stand back and produce and go out and get money,
Yeah.
he could jumpstart literally dozens of careers by
Hmm.
doing that.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Kind of the way that Michael Moore's done that with some of the documentarians that he's worked with.
Or the way,
Tarantino,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say Tarantino could do the same thing. That's the end of my
hmm
thought.
Yeah. Or the way like the A24 directors are being pulled into Euphoria. It's like they're directing episodes of that, and it's like these are those their way of trying to implement those filmmakers into their studio. So it's just like things like that. So yeah.
Oh man, God bless A24.
hmm
I
But
am,
Euphoria is produced by A24 as anonymous or something TV content, so it makes sense. It's their directors that they've already had
yeah.
movies that they've either distributed or produced. So yeah,
I am so pro A24. I love what they are doing.
yeah.
They're like the
And
indie
now Neon
major.
is influenced by that too, and they're
Yup.
starting to get into it. And
Neon,
yeah,
yeah, Neon has
hmm
had a kick-ass year with Long Legs and Cuckoo, and I
yeah,
just, yeah, I love it. I love it when these little studios just get up to the plate and crack one out of the park.
hmm
That just gives me hope. That
yeah.
gives me hope. It really does. As a filmmaker, when I
Good,
see that
yeah,
happen, I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, man. And honestly, and even though I realize that it's bad for the industry, and I'm on the receiving end of that because I'm an exhibitor. But then when you get something as self-indulgent and bloated as Megalopolis, and it's a major and it flops, I kind of just giggle to myself, and it's like, look, you could have made for the amount of money that you made that for, and I know that Coppola put in some of his own money. Okay, I get that. But it's like who said that at the Oscars? You could make 20 or 30 low budget films
Yeah.
instead
yeah.
of
Someone
one.
said it.
I forget the gentleman who said that now.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I look at Megalopolis and it's like, look at how many long legs you could have made for that.
hmm
You know, look at how many smaller films you could have made. You could have spread that wealth out. And
Yeah.
I mean, talk
I mean,
about
I do want
a
to see it. I just didn't see.
I've
I
heard
saw,
terrible things about that and Joker too, honestly.
yes, Joker too. Anyways,
Megalopolis is pretty. It's a pretty film,
okay.
but if
Aubrey
you can
Plaza's
make
my
sense
cell,
of it,
so
oh, and she's
I,
great. She's great. The
see.
performances are great.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
yeah.
the thing. Like I like Joker had great songs, great music, great acting, but it was just a bad movie. It's just like
Yeah.
the second one.
Um,
If you
Yeah,
sit Megalopolis, just see if you can actually sit down and tell me what it was about and what the story was about.
I don't think
Good
I
luck.
could. Yeah,
is it
this
the
feels like
next
a
Tree of
Rising
Life?
Jupiter thing, or is it like that? Or
Um,
Oh,
I heard
so
someone say, like, one of the first reviews I read of it was that Adam Driver is amazing at playing Adam Driver. And I laughed at that, having being someone who loves Adam
that
Driver.
sounds like
And
SNL.
I will give almost any movie a shot because of Adam Driver. I love him so much. So when I read that, I laughed really hard, but it puts you into kind of the right mindset. Like, okay, this isn't going to be some like amazing movie. Like if that's sort of the takeaway from that piece, you know. So it's kind of
well,
funny.
yeah, I love what you said because yeah, he is kind of like Adam Driver is kind of like Jack Nicholson. He's like
Hmm.
himself in every movie. I mean, Nicholson really, the only time Nicholson was ever not Nicholson was in Chinatown. And that was so early in his career before his head got bigger than the size of the planet that, you know, he never, he just never had a chance to like not be that again. And I feel like Adam Driver is like that without the ego. Like he's just himself in sort of
At least as
every
far as we
movie.
know.
Yeah, it I
Did you
I
ever
really
see
like it though.
did you ever see Patterson,
Yeah. Hmm.
That sounds
Rahana?
familiar. Uh,
If you
He's
like
a bus
Adam
driver.
Driver, you've
He's a
got to
driver.
see it.
okay.
A
No.
bus
Oh,
driver at that.
Oh,
Patterson.
Yeah.
yeah, you've got to
Okay.
see it. It's so good. It
Okay.
that is a movie with him that like it needs to sort of be rediscovered. And hopefully you've seen Marriage Story.
Yes. I will say he really impressed me in Marriage Story and Scarlett Johansson. That was an excellent, very uh emotion what's the word I'm trying to think of? Regardless, emotional movie. It really hits you. Yeah.
I would give anything to make a movie like Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of film I want to make. If I could make
Hmm.
one movie like Marriage Story
Yeah.
in my career in quotes, I'm putting that in quotes, career as a filmmaker, I would give anything to make that movie. I saw that and it just blew me away.
Yeah.
Just blew me away how good it was.
It was
Hmm.
so good on such a simple like premise, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, just when you think, you know, that all of that, just when you think that all of the X movies are done, like
Yeah.
insert whatever you want. What just when you think that X movie is played out,
Hmm.
somebody's going to come along and redo it. And just when you thought
It's
that all the marriage movies were done, Noah Baumbach comes out and gives you Marriage Story and just completely flips the script.
yeah.
It's like, nope, there's still more stories to be told. There's
Yeah.
still more ways that we can look at this. And
Yep.
yeah, oh, what a movie.
Yeah.
What a movie.
That was the one that I thought of too. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead,
I
Alan.
think yeah, I guess when it comes to like, well, going back to the horror thing. Have you had much I mean, are you I guess you already said this, but you're not a horror filmmaker per se, or it's not your main genre that you like, but you just mentioned like Marriage Story, so is that like you're more into the drama types, is that right? Or
I love doing drama. I
okay.
there's just something about seeing actors getting a chance to act. And
Mhm.
that may seem like an oversimplification, but I think that I think that drama really gives an opportunity for an actor to really show what they're made of. I mean,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, it doesn't really take much acting ability for, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger to aim a gun at somebody and go take that. You know, it he's a character and he's identifiable
And that's
and
kind of
you're
Hollywood's thing, so it's kind of
yeah,
Yeah.
like we
you're
can,
rooting for him,
yeah.
Yeah.
but to see a dramatic film where somebody really just transforms themselves into another person so much to the point that you forget that they're that other
Hmm.
person.
Yeah.
I think that is what really gets me excited about making movies, to be able to find those moments. Another film that I would give anything to make is Doubt.
Oh
Have
yeah,
either of you seen
Oh,
that?
I love it. Yep.
yeah.
Probably
Oof.
my favorite Meryl Streep film,
Oh,
actually.
Really?
she
Yeah.
is just
Ooh.
unbelievable in that
Yeah.
film. And Philip Seymour
Well,
Hoffman. I
her
mean,
acting in
that
it. Yep.
that
Yeah.
scene between the two of them
Yeah.
when they finally have it out, that everything crescendos to that moment, and they're in
Hmm.
her office, and they have it out. I think is just that's like a visual textbook on acting.
Hmm.
Like if you want to be an actor, just watch that scene about
Hmm.
500 times, and that
It
is
like
that
makes
is
you like
Well,
hold your breath. You're
yeah.
just like, mhm.
Oh,
well, also the
I
nuances that she did with her character in that, it was so good. So it was just,
Oh, when
yeah.
she's got the crucifix between her fingers, and she like sort of like holds it almost like a knife to her throat, but she's also doing it like keep away from me.
Hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree. That movie, I get something new out of it every time I see it. I have to watch it about once every couple of years.
Mm.
It's a
Yeah,
good
just
idea.
the subtleties in her voice and her
Yeah.
delivery in some of the scenes where she's being a little more soft or,
Yeah.
unsure about things, and just it's yeah, doubt.
Well, and here is my challenge to you. This is the last time I watched Out. This is what I got out of it. So he's obviously, and I'm sorry if anybody out there has not seen the
It's
film,
old enough.
but
It's
I'm
fine.
but I'm going forward with this anyway. So they have that scene, right? And
Yep.
they're having it out, and he's basically he's got her on the ropes when he starts talking about her past, and she's
Hmm.
obviously done something that she's not proud of, and so she starts to break down. Okay, the next time you watch Doubt, it seems like it's going to go his way because he's got her on the ropes. Okay, I want you to find the moment where it turns and why. Because it didn't hit me until the last time I saw it
Hmm.
exactly
Hmm.
why she does a 180 in that moment. And all of a sudden it hit me. And I'm like, it's because da 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 da. And see
Okay.
if see if you can find it, because the film is so meticulously it's
Hmm.
Hmm.
meticulously put together and written and constructed and acted and
Yeah.
edited that there is a discernible moment you can actually point to in the film, and it's like, this is where he effed up. If he hadn't
Yep.
have said that, she would have let him off. So see if
Hmm.
you can find it.
Ooh.
And it was
Okay.
based on a play originally, right? So that
Yes,
was
Yeah.
also
yes.
the basis
Um,
of it too, becoming a
right.
movie, a very
Yeah.
successful play.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
so
own the play. I've read the play too. The play
oh,
is
okay.
is also quite magnificent.
Sensational Shorts, Halloween Horror Shorts 3, October 29th. Get your tickets.
7 p.m.
7 p.m., $7.
$7.
Yep.
And yeah, just I'm interested in going to this for sure. So Tuesday, I don't think I have anything. We'll see with the podcast, but yes. But
We'd
otherwise
love to
I'll
have
be
you
there.
both.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Rahana, we'll see.
Yeah, now that I think about it, the fact that it is a scary,
A
it's
horror
a horror
shorts,
one.
but they're short. So
I could also like show up and just eat popcorn in the
the popcorn
like
is good. I
yeah, I
highly
could eat the
recommend the
popcorn
large.
in the
Yes.
lobby and just listen to everybody gasp and scream and be like, oh, okay, things are happening.
Well,
I
just
could do that too.
don't forget, you always have the option to watch it like this.
That's true. I just yeah, if I bring a
Yes.
blanket, I could I'm that person. Oh my
No, it
gosh.
would it would be wonderful to see you both, and yeah, thanks for letting me talk about the event. I'm really
Yeah.
excited. We have some wonderful films, wonderful Minnesota filmmakers being represented, and I would just love it if people took time out of their evening. I know it's busy time. We'd love to have you though. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, and thanks for putting
Yeah.
on the sensational shorts. I love the
Yes.
concept. I think it's everything many people can
Mhm.
get behind.
Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe one day you'll have it on a weekend, maybe. I'm just gonna say, but
I
and then you get,
know it's
I
tough.
get it, I get it. You have other films that are gonna be there, but yeah. Um, yeah, look forward to it
Yeah.
here on the 29th.
Yep.
So
Everybody
thank you again,
go.
Nathan, for coming.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I had a
Thank you
blast.
so
I
much.
always have a great time talking to you both. So thank you. This is
Oh,
really fun.
absolutely. Thank you. And to all of our viewers and listeners, this has been Film and Beyond.